Hi, and welcome back to Science 1206, the Chemical Reactions Unit. I'm Ms. Ledwell, and in this video we'll talk about how to write formulas for molecular compounds. Let's begin. To write the formula for a binary molecular compound, your first step is to write the chemical symbol for the first element in the name and check the prefix, like di, tri, to determine the number of atoms. Remember, for the first element, there will not be a prefix if there is only one. So let's look at the example dinitrogen monoxide. We're going to write the chemical symbol for the first element, which is nitrogen. The chemical symbol for nitrogen is an N. And then the prefix di tells us that there are 2 atoms of nitrogen. Our next step is to write the chemical symbol for the second element. When looking up the element on the periodic table, remember that the "-ide" ending in the compound's name is not part of the element's name. You change the ending to "-ide" when you're doing the naming. Also, you need to check the prefix, mono, di, tri, to determine the number of atoms of that element. In this example, we have monoxide, and oxide is oxygen. So the symbol for oxygen is O, and mono tells us that there is 1. So now we're going to write the formula with chemical symbols and subscripts to indicate how many of each atom there are. For our first element, we had N, and there were 2, N2. Our second element, we had O, and there is 1, and we don't write the subscript 1. So our formula is going to look like this, N2O, dinitrogen monoxide. Let's try a few more examples. Our next example is sulfur hexafluoride. Down on the bottom of this slide, you'll see the numbers that refer to each prefix. And the first thing we're going to do is name the first element and how many there are. So our first element is sulfur, and the chemical symbol for sulfur is S, and there's no prefix. That means that there is 1. Our second element is hexafluoride, and fluoride is fluorine. Chemical symbol is F, and hexa, if we look at the chart, there's 6. So we have 6F. Now we're going to write the formula. We have SF6. Let's try another one. Next, we have diphosphorus pentoxide. So let's look at our first element in this compound, diphosphorus. So the symbol for phosphorus is P. Di tells us that there's 2 of them. And then our second element is pentoxide. Oxide is oxygen, chemical symbol O, and penta is 5. So we have 5 oxygen. So now we can write our formula. We have P2O5. Now that we've done some examples together, it's time for you to do some practice. Pause this instructional video and grab a pencil and some paper, or open up a blank document on your electronic device. Number your paper or your document from 1 to 10. As each compound in the table on the next slide is revealed, write down the formula of the compound. I will then reveal the correct answers one by one, so you may want to pause after the name is revealed to write down your answer and then press play to check it. After you've numbered your paper or document, please resume this instructional video for the practice. Let's do some practice now, writing the formulas for some compounds. Our first compound is carbon tetrafluoride. So what is the chemical formula for carbon tetrafluoride? And our formula is CF4. Next, we have dinitrogen trisulfide. Our formula is N2-S2-L6-03. Our next example is tetraphosphorus pentasulfide. And the formula for that is P4S5. Number 4, sulfur tetrachloride, SCl4. Nitrogen trifluoride, and that is NF3. Tetrasulfur tetranitride, that is S4N4. Phosphorus trichloride, PCl3. Dinitrogen monosulfide, N2S. Disulfur trifluoride is S2F3, and sulfur hexafluoride is SF6. If you had trouble naming any of these compounds, you can go back to the beginning of the instructional video and rewatch the examples there. Now it's time to review this section on molecular compounds. Please complete the learning activities in Brightspace.